Thank you for tuning in to Koppen with Comic. I'm Brian Koppen, and we're here with comic Rhett Sever. Rhett Sever, how the hell are you?
Hey, what's up?
Oh, dude, thank you so much for
Good.
coming in the cold, and it's Saturday morning, and you're our first guest, and I cannot wait to get into Mormonism. But first, let us know where you're doing stand-up comedy on stage in New York City and where we can find you online.
All right, so I'm doing the Gay AF, which means gay as fuck.
Yes, gay as fuck.
At the Broadway Comedy Club
cool.
on March 4th at
And
8
what
p.m.
kind of show is that? What kind of show can people
Yeah,
expect?
it's LGBT.
Okay, now is it
So it's
LGBT?
very-
Is it all LGBT comedians, or is it at least I imagine it's at least LGBTQ comedians. Is it also strictly that type of content, or is it just giving
Right.
those people an opportunity to do whatever they want to do?
Yeah, so gay people aren't always about their sexuality,
Yeah.
just like everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just whatever. It's just supporting like gay comics, but yeah, we talk about whatever.
Good.
So if you're like really homophobic, then it won't be as bad as
Yeah.
you think.
That's funny.
But no, I mean, even if you are homophobic, you should also come because faggots are funny. Do you know what I mean? I think so. So, I mean, just watch RuPaul's Drag Race. It's like the funniest show ever.
Yeah.
So
that's at Broadway Comedy Club, and when is that?
March 4th at
Okay.
8 p.m.
And is that a monthly show?
I think he's trying to do it. Yeah, Rodney Daniels,
Okay.
my friend who produces it, he wants to do it as a monthly.
Okay.
And then I have my monthly show, Say Everything at Creek in the Cave, every first Thursday of every month.
And so
March
what's
5th.
Say Everything? Kind of how are you? That March 5th show, what can people expect?
Yeah, we interview the comedians after their set, and we kind of get to know
Ah.
them more and ask them questions. Like I call it like the best and worst with Rhett Sever and my co-host Riri Soko,
Oh, cool.
and we ask them, about the best and worst things of their life.
And so that's March 5th.
Yeah, March 5th at
Creek in
8
the
p.m.
Cave. Creek in
Yeah.
the, and that's your monthly show.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
That
every
is so
first-
cool. So you get to ask them, do you ask them about the kind of the act they did last night, or their act and, just kind of them in general?
I mean, sometimes about it, like how they came up with the joke, but mostly just asking like the best job you've ever had, the best thing that's ever happened to you.
Okay.
Kind of like these big questions, and then it gets interesting.
I love that. The biggest
Yeah.
questions ever that they couldn't possibly be prepared for. And is the
Yeah.
audience asking anything too, or is it just you moderating?
Yeah, just me and my co-hosts interviewing. But I mean, I'm not one of those people who gets really mad at people if they maybe heckle or try to chime in the audience.
Especially during that portion.
I try to like just keep it awkward, and then hopefully the awkwardness deters people from
Yeah.
chiming in, because I never understood the comedians who get really mad. A lot of comedians will get pissed, and it's like that's just making everything worse.
Yeah.
And you should try to make it comical and funny.
Yeah, it shows you're present and in the room if you can also
Yeah.
respond to a heckle appropriately and
Yeah.
and funnily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And then you also have a open mic that you host?
yeah, every Saturday at 4 p.m.
Oh, cool.
at the Pit Attic in Manhattan, and you can check the website if there's any changes or cancellations to that, pitnyc.com.
And that's in the attic, huh?
Yeah.
That's a small, tiny space that's conducive to laughs.
Yeah, I mean, I always make jokes about how hopefully it's worth the $5
Yeah.
for them, and give them 5 minutes. And if the microphone doesn't work, it doesn't matter, because it's really just like we use it just to pretend, kind of make it seem like it's worth the $5.
Yeah.
But then in the summertime, it's really hot, so we have the fan on, so the microphone actually has a purpose to amplify
Oh, good.
over the fan.
Over the fan, right.
And so, yeah, you wouldn't think I was describing something in Manhattan.
Yeah, but it's a
But,
cool, that's cool that it's
yeah.
a nice attic that all the people
Yeah.
can get up on. And what
Yeah.
else? What else you got coming, or should we talk about some Mormonism?
That's mostly the stuff I have.
Yeah, and are you talking about Mormonism in your act? And real quick, kind of give me a background on, I mean, you grew up in the church. At some point, you got the hell out of there, and it sounds like you went to college and then the big bad city. At what point did you kind of what is Mormonism and why did you kind of leave it behind?
Well, I always had the kind of, because like I think there's two types of people who, like, one is susceptible, or they're like predispositioned to need something to believe in, and they need answers, so they go to religion.
Yeah.
And then other people just don't care, and they can live their life, being agnostic or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I just happen to be like an agnostic type person who's born in religion. And so it's weird, like I think half and half those people are born under each type of way of life, and then they kind of just switch spots.
Yeah.
Those two halves just switch spots like over the course of their life. So I had to go
And what does the
worship
Mormon?
the
What does the
devil.
Mormon? and then do your comedy in an attic talking about the devil. Like, what are you? What What does the Mormon Church teach? And did you have any problems with it?
I mean, it's basically just your average Christian religion.
Okay.
It's just kind of more like strict in terms of like if you ask somebody who they are, they will say, "I'm a Mormon" first. This is very ingrained in you.
Okay.
They're very oppressed and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I was just kind of tortured my whole childhood because like it just felt
figuratively.
yeah,
Okay.
it just felt like a chore every. But then I realized it was worth having my mom yell at me every Sunday when I wouldn't get ready, and then I could stay home. And then I realized, wait a minute, why am I getting ready just so my mom doesn't yell at me?
Yeah.
Her yelling at me is worth
Staying
staying
home.
home. So it's like,
And it sounds like you're in a gay AF show, and I won't presume anything, but kind of like,
Yeah.
is there anything about that church that wouldn't condone you even being part of it, a gay AF show in New York City?
No, yeah, that's probably why I have my state of mind, is because since I was gay and they don't accept gay people, that was just, that's just like a red flag in terms of like,
Yeah, you're-
lifestyle.
Yeah, if
So,
you're not going to accept me for, the way I am, why the hell would I?
yeah,
And you're letting Mitt Romney be gay, but no.
yeah.
And so did you use humor as any sort of kind of coping mechanism back in the day? Like, at what point did you in the
Yeah,
Mormon
it's
journey
weird.
did you find out you were the funniest one there? I actually have a sense of humor. What happened to everybody else's?
Yeah, it's weird. I kind of always appreciated humor, but never even thought of like being quote unquote comedian until
Yeah.
I was like actually 27.
It probably wasn't even a thing in Mormon country.
Yeah, and I realized I wrote actually my first joke like when I was like 13. It was there's beef stroganoff at
Yes.
this school lunch, and I was like, I don't like beef stroganoff. I prefer stroganoff the beef. And I
That's
realized, I was
amazing.
writing jokes before I even knew what I was doing.
You
know?
peaked at 13. Now, I mean, is everything that the attempt to kind of recapture the glory of that moment when you just spit out the funniest line ever? Because it's probably never that easy as it is right then. I mean, you just found out, man, that was a perfect line that you came out with, as if it were nothing.
Yeah, it's weird. I didn't, and then it didn't even occur to me to get on stage till I was, well, because like when, I grew up Mormon, it was very like, and I was teased in school and everything, so it made me very shy and withdrawn.
Okay.
And that's why it took me a long time to get out of that when I finally moved here.
Yeah.
And, finally kind of became myself, like, because I always kind of was like an extrovert, but the circumstance or the nurture part of my life was more, it made me withdrawn and stuff. So
Like tamp it down, tamp down that extroversion.
yeah,
Okay.
and so, but I was actually, I think, more outgoing than that. So I finally could be myself when I came here. And
And did any of that happen before in college? Like, where did college fit that development from
no,
Mormonism to New
it
York
was
City?
still, it was so messed me up that I was still very shy till I was 27. I would just go home and watch movies
Okay.
like till I was 27. I finally became social with comedy at that age. So yeah, it's weird.
So the 27-year-old thing was while you were in New York City.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you find some other comics who showed you that, oh my gosh, you can go on stage and be funny, but also you can be yourself?
Yeah, that's what it took me a long time to learn because I would hide behind characters when I first
Ah,
did comedy. I would do all these act outs and everything because I was afraid to be myself, but I didn't even realize it
okay.
because it was very because I shook like I you could visibly see me shake
Okay.
for the first 2 years at open mics. And then I finally got comfortable on stage, and then it was weird to be comfortable, and I had to get used to that.
Yeah.
It's so
My
weird.
gosh, I'm
Yeah.
comfortable. I'm freaking out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very strange.
Because I would think you'd be like, I am so comfortable right now that I'm about to forget what I'm going to say. Because you
Yeah,
need some nerves at the beginning
yeah.
to get to keep you sharp and things. And if you're too comfortable on stage, I would almost think that you'd also lose some of
Yeah,
your
I don't think
energy.
I have that to be afraid of. I
Okay.
think I'll always kind of be nervous
Okay.
to the good point.
Good, the healthy
Yeah,
nerves. Okay.
yeah.
And then did you kind of abandon the characters then and just kind of work
Yeah,
it
and
into
then
I am Rhett Sever and I am a character?
yeah,
Okay.
then I could be myself.
Okay.
Yeah, stop. But I still kind of like the characters I did, like douchebag Don.
And what's
stuff.
douchebag Don about? Is he just kind of like
Yeah,
spoofing the whole bro culture? Or
yeah,
okay,
basically, kind of
like the
like
guy
a
at the
Andrew Dice
bar?
Clay type.
Oh,
Cause I would think of jokes like a Andrew Dice Clay type joke,
okay,
where it's just like like about abortions and stuff,
okay,
where I couldn't get away with it as myself. So
right.
sometimes you have to in order to get away with something, for it to make sense, ironically.
Okay. And so how do you
And
bring
so,
up douchebag Don? You're like, well,
I
I was
would
at this bar and there was this douchebag Don and he said this.
no, I would introduce him, and then everybody would think somebody's coming up on stage. But then I would just turn around and put on sunglasses,
Okay.
and then pop up my
Oh,
collar,
cool.
and that's how I got into.
And then, so that character can happen at the beginning, and then is there other characters that you bring in? I mean, and I guess you were workshopping characters at the beginning. What other characters have survived besides douchebag Don?
I don't.
Or who's the character now that's Rhett Sever? Kind of, are you talking
I'm
about your
I'm
autobiographical
just kind of
background
like
as a
an
Mormon?
awkward,
Okay.
yeah, like I don't know, like just an awkward gay guy.
Okay.
I don't know. Um,
And I suppose like there's probably people on stage, stand-ups on stage, who are openly gay in their material, but also they're not awkward. You know what I mean? So like if you are
yeah,
awkward gay, that's probably
yeah.
interesting as opposed to some of the flamboyant gay personas that can
Oh,
be
I
found
never
on
even
stage,
thought of it
right?
that way. Yeah,
And
I try
so
to be unique.
and kind of do you ever spoof those at all? Like did you say,
Um,
well, I'm an awkward gay, and so I'm not like X, Y, and Z.
yeah,
Or is that kind of unfair? I don't even know if that's on limits or like what is on limits and off limits when it comes to like a gay AF show? Like what don't you say about, if you are the G in the LGBTQ, what can you say about the rest? Because somebody like Dave Chappelle gets up there and he just talks about all of them as if he has intimate knowledge of each one.
right.
Can you only talk about the G or can you also kind of touch on the other letters?
Yeah, I actually do some jokes about the other, like my trans joke is, like Trump has triggered us so much and made us, have to be PC.
Right.
And I didn't even know sex change was an offensive term. Have you heard the new term for sex change?
Is it sexual reassignment surgery?
Evolution, bitch. Yeah, and then it's a whole controversy because the doctors won't do the attitude when they say evolution, bitch. So it's a whole thing. But I don't think, well, I don't know, maybe I'm just not famous enough, but I don't think I would get backlash from that, doing a trans joke, yeah, just as a gay person.
Right.
But also I think it all comes down to the intent. If you can explain, how you're not being hateful or judgment, you know what I mean? Like,
Because that'll matter. Like after somebody
yeah,
deems you
because
hateful, you explaining why it's not hateful will count, right?
yeah, it's weird. Because I love Dave Chappelle, and
Yeah.
I think everything he did was awesome with making fun of the whole PC thing.
The people in the car, where the LGBTQ were all in the car, and he kind of
Yeah, but
he
then
talked about the relationships between the
the
subgroups.
trans thing was the only uncomfortable thing in his whole thing,
Okay.
because it did seem like he was sincerely being judgmental of trans people, and that
Okay.
was awkward because it's like you seriously think this is a choice?
Yeah.
Like when he compared it to like, he said something about like a non-Asian person pretending to be choosing to be Chinese,
Oh,
and it's
right.
like it's funny, but it's also just awkwardly not right. Like,
Well, good, because that's the kind of stuff I
so
want to
that's why
hear.
it's
Because like
weird, but
nobody else is really taking Chappelle down for any of that, and so we're forced to take it at face value that he really knows everybody in that car, so he's able to talk about the relationships between the subgroups. And I don't know that he
yeah,
is. I mean, like
yeah,
who
and
the fuck knows who he's hanging out with?
so I think it's only fine because it was still funny. Like I was still laughing even though I was kind of horrified.
Okay.
So I think it's kind of fine, but also, and I guess it's maybe okay to like, there's still freedom of speech and everything, but and it feels weird to be part of this millennial culture of like being overly sensitive to everything, which is I think kind of weird because then you're just giving respect to, you're in a weird way giving respect to people who are being offensive by caring what they think.
Yeah.
So also, it just doesn't make sense to be offended because if people are being offensive, then they shouldn't matter,
Yeah.
and you shouldn't care what they
Dude,
think.
yeah, it's
So
like that guy's
it doesn't make
that guy's a
sense.
douchebag Don. Don't
Yeah.
don't give him a microphone unless it's via Rhett Sever, and then
Yeah.
they can see you do this stuff on the 4th and the 5th. The 4th
Yeah.
is it Gay AF is on the 4th? What's on the 4th and what's on the 5th? I know you have your show, which is Say Everything, on the 5th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Gay as Fuck is Broadway Comedy Club, March 4th at 8 p.m.
Okay.
And then my monthly show, Say Everything, at Creek in the Cave every first Thursday of the month. So the next one is March 5th at 8 p.m.
And the open mic is every Friday?
Or the Pit Attic open mic is every Saturday
Oh,
at
okay.
4 p.m.
Okay.
$5 for 5 minutes.
Sweet. Up in the creepy ass attic.
Yeah.
Good. And then where can they
Cool.
find you online? Are you Rhett Sever across all social platforms?
Yeah, Rhett Sever like fever,
Okay.
Rhett. As in Rhett Butler.
RHE. He looks just like Rhett
Yeah.
Butler, man. He's so fucking suave. He's not an awkward gay comedian at all. He's super suave. Thank you so much, Rhett Sever.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.